What I've got for you today are 3 viewer-submitted games of StarCraft 2. We're starting off with a Diamond League match of Protoss versus Zerg that takes place on the map Torches, and I already kind of hate it. We were delayed on the second probe! Why are you delayed on the second probe? Anyway, spotting right here in the top right corner. Playing with the red Protoss pieces. We're looking inside of the main base of Batnas. I almost feel like I'm saying a swear word in a language that I do not know. You freaking Batnas. His opponent, down in the bottom right, playing with the blue Zerg pieces. He goes by the name of Roomba. It's one of the advantages of being Dutch. We can roll every R, no problem. All right, what are we doing? Are we gonna go... Roomba actually checked right over here at the front whether or not he was going to get cannon rushed, but yeah, there is a forge indeed coming up. We have a gateway being made as well. Right over here on the low ground on the side of the Protoss. And then in the meantime, Batnas sneaking out a worker, dodges that second Overlord as well. Dude, these are the plays right here of a Zerg who's been cheesed one too many times. First he checks with a drone. Oh, cat aggro in real life. Thank you for being subtle about it. First he checks with a drone out front. Then he checks with an Overlord out front. But then he instead decides to check out, well, only the locations where the cheese is not happening. Poor Zerg here. This is going to make the game very messy, but of course, yeah. I never really loved this spot very much, right? So I feel like cannon rushing in this location is good if your goal is to try and kill the opponent's natural expansion. The thing is, this photon cannon is too early, so you can still just cancel the hatchery. There we go. And now it's become a relatively small commitment. I don't really think it's that big of a deal. Plus, if you do go for like roaches, maybe you get like contained over here. Roaches and Ravagers from the high ground can just hit the pylon, hit the photon cannons and everything else. Now, apparently we have had enough. Oh, Roomba is making... Really? Alright, Roomba decided to move out with 3 workers there. He's making it real easy for his opponent to guess that maybe something messy is going to happen. One of the drones over here does get spotted on the other side. Apparently, we're now rushing for the natural expansion of the Protoss. Okay, it does get blocked in the end. But, yeah. Why? Why did... Okay, well, I guess we can just kind of rush this one too. Sure, not a big deal. Gold base, in the meantime, has been taken. And we're also, We're doing the thing again, and I hate doing the thing. We see this time and time again in viewer-submitted games, where after the rush and the damage has already been accomplished, we still add on more photon cannons. I'm a little bit concerned. Don't do it, Batnas. Batnas, no! Batnas, stop it! You're Batnas insane, dude. Batnas, stop! This is so dumb. Your opponent even agrees. Well, that's 150 minerals down the drain, I suppose. Alright, well, we do have the photon cannon now done over in the natural expansion. Gold base is also building up. There's no reason. There is 0 reason right here for this continued building. Like, we've already done what we came for. We should really just be going into a Stargate now. We should really just be building up the macro from here. Like, your goal with a cannon rush like this is not to win the game, but it's to try and get a hit. Now, Lair is coming right now for Roomba. He did make a Roach Warren too, by the way, so he's making roaches right now. I think he can do what I was, you know, mentioning just now. Just stand on the edge, rain some biles down below, and I think even this pylon over here might be within range. Hatchery over here, though, did end up going down. Gold base right now has started mining. Batnas did see 3 drones moving out, and he only saw 2 on his side of the map. Now, that does make the assumption that he can count, which is a big assumption, but he did see 3 drones, and only 2 are accounted for right now. So it would be a relatively easy guess to go out onto the map and figure out whether or not one of those bases is taken. And most often, obviously, it's going to be the gold. We're going to go double Stargate right now. We have a 1-base Nydus worm as well. Coming up right here. Well, it's technically a 2-base, obviously, but it's a very quick Nydus network right here for Roomba. He's got an Overlord over here in the back of the natural expansion, which has now been taken by Batnas. There is another OV over here, although it stopped moving forward. Fair enough. Photon cannon as well in the back to maybe try and at least keep this safe right over here. then decides to mine it out himself. Not entirely sure about that logic is all about, but we do have the first Void Ray being built. Photon cannons into Void Rays, bit of a classic. Ravager production, though, has begun. Oh, we do scout. Okay, Batnas is thinking. And I think that indeed confirms to us that he is capable of counting as well, which I do like. Now, I'm a little bit afraid that Roomba is going to go down to the low ground and lose Ravagers to Photon Cannons when he can just kill it from the high ground instead. Honestly, there's very little reason for him to be even the aggressor right now. Speedy Overlords, though, are available. I think he wants to maybe knight us over here in the corner. And we are going to go for Corrosive Balls from the ledge. So that's good. I don't know if this over here is going to be within range, but this should still be a relatively easy cleanup. Now, Void Ray production has kicked in. Oh, jeez. That Overlord just barely passed by that Void Ray. This one did not. Batnas paying attention to the minimap, sees the Speedy Overlords right now too. It's got to give him an understanding that maybe something fishy is going on. So instead, we do decide to go for the Nydus Worm, but it's within vision of the Nexus now that the Nexus is done. In the meantime, though, we have the Prismatic Alignment activated right here on units that don't take bonus damage from it. Fair enough. Just makes the beam thick. Very important to try and make the beam thick. Quickly, though, the Ravagers and the one Roach run on through the network and pop out on the other side. Okay. Void Ray decides to go back home. We have a little bit of damage being done, but honestly, there's not that much economy for Protoss here in the first place. Oh, we're loading in units while also unloading units. Gold base, though, is still mining, and there hasn't really been done, well, anything about it just yet. Okay. So I think you can kill the Overlords, and then you gotta go to this base right over here. We need to shut this down ASAP. Yeah. Hydrodyne coming up right now for Roomba. We are soon going to be at 5 Void Rays, which I think will be more than enough to start shutting down even Spore Crawlers and all the rest of it. I mean, you can just make the beam thick. Yeah, make the beam thick. There we go. Bzzzt, 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 bzzzt. Okay, well, that's not my... Oh, God. Not my favorite bit of micro, but that's okay. I find it very ironic, by the way, how we are like... This is clearly like, you know, pretty decent StarCraft, right? This is not low-level StarCraft. But still, we are at... we are at Photon Cannon Rush into Void Rays. Now, I don't know what in the world is going on. Right when I started complimenting Batnas, he decides to lose 2 of those Void Rays of his to units that he could have just, well, countered. Anyways, a little bit of a mess. I think ultimately, yeah, with the Hydras now popping out, this is going to be a defense for Roomba. But the problem is his eco is absolutely down the gutter. We have 18 drones now versus 36 probes. Batnas, though, has forgotten that he needs to spend his money on things that maybe aren't Void Rays. Or maybe if he wants to go a lot of Void Rays, he needs to make more Stargates and get the gases going over here. Either way, he's stacking up a good bit of change. We don't even have warp gates. Wow, we go +1 air attacks and shields in the forge before ever going warp gate. This is a man who's been doing the same strategy since Bronze League. He's just doing it at a much higher level. Fleet Beacon coming up, sure. There is zero plan right here for Batnas to make a transition to anything ground. Now, the main problem with this sort of strategy, I guess, is that you do get these weird lulls in the game. Like the Void Rays, you can't really roam the map with them as easily here. We should certainly be trying, I think. You can always recall, right? And considering, yeah, we are spending Chrono Boost, maybe we need to be a little bit more cautious with that. But it is certainly something that can still deal damage in the main base. But now you're kind of waiting for carriers, I guess, to come out. Maybe Tempests. Although, again, it's, you know... Cannon Rush into Void Rays, so it should always be carriers. There it is. +1 shields is gonna get denied, it looks like. In the meantime, though, ooh, we are making the beam thick again against units that do not take bonus damage from it. So to clarify, Prismatic Alignment allows you to deal bonus damage to armored units. Now, Roaches are, but Ravagers and Hydras are not. Meaning that, yeah, you just slow down your own units. which if you're not going to micro them, I guess it doesn't matter. But it doesn't really benefit you in any way. All right, double Cybercore available right now. Forge is going to get rebuilt. +1 for the armor here. Starts up as well for Batnas. And he is basically just planning on maxing out with Skytos. Gold base now also taken, by the way, here, which I do really love. Yeah, Batnas might be like the highest ranked Silver Leaguer I've ever seen. Very impressive. I mean that with the most... It doesn't really sound like a compliment, I suppose. But I mean it with a lot of respect. Batnas, the highest ranked Silver League player in Diamond League in the world. Okay. Don't know why this Overlord somehow was given another shot. I guess it's because the Zerg is here. Prismatic alignment yet again activated on Hydralisks and the Ravagers. So Roaches are armored. It's actually kind of an interesting thing. So Roaches are armored. But Ravagers are not. So when you upgrade a Roach into a Ravager, it loses the armor tech and it loses 25 life. But because of the fact that in certain situations, like for example against Void Ray, you have units that deal bonus damage, right, to armored. Sometimes the Ravager is actually the more tanky unit, despite having less HP. Hydra's going in, though, together with those Ravagers. And this is a critical push here from Roomba. If he would have sat back and tried to, like, max out first, would have been an absolute disaster. Like, at some point, you... He's stutter-stepping Zerglings. I love it. We're using control groups at the very least. That's good. You cannot sit back here with a lower economy, because at some point, there's going to be, like, 8 carriers out. I think, honestly, Roomba is going to be able to just straight up overwhelm this right here, right now. He's only got 35 workers. There is no storm or anything along those lines. We are just about to hit 4 carriers, though. 4 carriers with +1/+1. Hydras are targeting it all down, so not going after the interceptors, trying to go after the carriers instead. New re-rallied one right over here is doing a good bit of damage, but I think, yeah, the carriers will win the fight. Couple of reinforcing Hydras, though. 4 of them show up. Well, a few more are now making their way in here. Ravagers trying their best. Okay. And as the dust has settled, yeah, we do have 2 bases still up. We do still have a bunch of carriers up in the air. We have a bit of a piggy bank as well, right? So now he's finally spent his minerals and his gas on 3 additional carriers. Never count out a player with 5 carriers against the low eco Zerg. I mean, Roomba should still 100% have this in the bag, but there's always a moment when the carriers can, like, maybe sail into the main base, snipe down the lair, something along those lines. Maybe they can go after the Hydra then. These units are not very mobile, and obviously from Roomba's point of view, right, he's lost all of the Overlord vision out on the map. He doesn't know where Protoss is going to go. So he's awkwardly leaving his army here in between the bases, which, yeah, they're all extremely spread out. I think you go for the main base here as Batnas. He's waiting right now for the extra carriers to spawn. This is one of those situations where the carrier interceptor ships, they're 15 minerals each. They're actually quite costly. Like, Batnas is extremely low eco. Ooh. Okay, fair enough. Did he just notice that something here is weird? I think he may have seen a glimpse of something. Yeah, he's attack moving here. He knows that there is likely an army once more at his front door. Natural expansion is likely to go down. Maybe not. We decide to retarget to the carriers. High ground advantage right now for the Protoss player, who is target firing down units, by the way, with the carriers. Hatchery, or the Protoss hatchery, the Nexus, it still lives. And that was about the best exchange that Batnas could have ever hoped for. +1/+1 here, coming up finally for Roomba. Infestation Pit also coming up. So he has kind of decided that, you know, you need to do something. We have 6 carriers. In my mind, Protoss has been kind of dead. But we've got 6 carriers. There's a base that's going to be built again over at the Golden Minerals. And I really think he can kill an expansion here of the Zerg, or just the good old main. As long as we are out of reach, you can really only lose the interceptor ships, and they're not free, but they're not too expensive either. Just a bit of pressure over here is going to keep this Zerg player pinned back. Oh, are we going to go Microbial Shroud? Is that the plan? Maybe we should just go Corruptors. Microback, Microback, Microback. Yep. The Hydras can't reach him, man. So Interceptors, by the way, need to be fully deployed. And it takes a little bit for them to all be out. So fighting the carriers when all the Interceptors are already out is way harder. Look at the range as well, right? So there's a minimum attack range for the carrier. But then once the Interceptors are deployed and attacking something, you can back up with the carrier to a much longer, further away spot. And the carriers will be saved. The Interceptors themselves, again, will be the only thing exposed. We're going Microbial Shroud. That's really the strategy here. It will work if Batnas decides to take a straight-up engagement. But at this point, we're at 8 carriers, and I don't know if we will ever get it. Zerg once more, a little bit worried right now. He's certainly going to be attacking over at the gold base next, right? Maybe he's going to try and sneak around the side. Nope, not the case. Batnas still hiding in the corner of the Zerg's main. Sneaking around the side. Okay, we're going after the tech, fair enough. There's actually already a secondary Hydra then, what was built, so I guess we've made the anticipation of everything going down. But look at the DPS. The damage coming out of those carriers is nuts. He's just pointing his gun at whatever, and it will go down. Now, Hydra then falls, but there is a backup Hydra then. And the reason we don't see a defense is because everything that Zerg has been moved across the map. In the meantime, the gold base here, that's fully exposed with a row of photon cannons on, well, the side that the Hydras are not on. It could just be killed right now, but not the case. Carriers are going to recall. Do we recall to the main? We did not recall to the main. No, we recalled towards the gold base instead. Was a little bit afraid there that he was recalling to the natural. That would have probably been the worst case scenario. If he can snipe a couple of Hydras, maybe take down the Infestors as well, this is still a very winnable game. Batnas? Okay, yeah, the Infestors are hiding right now. He's targeting the individual Hydras. Microbial Shroud needs to be thrown right now. It takes now the Hydras underneath 50% damage, but the Hydras will move out of the cloud yet again. One of the carriers here dangerously low. Why are we not just attack moving here? What are we doing? Is there enough for the Zerg to clean this up? Is there enough for the Protoss player to clean this up? I think so. I think the Protoss has enough. Maybe? A lot of Interceptors have died, and he did certainly misposition his army. He doesn't know about the gold, though, and that's a problematic situation. Roomba believes that his opponent is going to be exposed now, right? Like, everything is going to be revealed here within a few seconds' time. That's what happens when every Nexus disappears. Not the case. The gold base has been set up. Batnas, though, has got a whole load of photon cannons on the wrong side, which honestly is costly. Keep in mind that the win condition in a game of StarCraft is to destroy all of your opponent's structures. The army units technically don't matter. No, I think Zerg is okay. This fight is dragging out too long. We have another Microbial Shroud here. Protoss somehow, some way, very intimidated by the Shroud. Yeah, so underneath the Dorito dust, the Hydras now take 50% damage from air units. It is the most underutilized spell in StarCraft 2. Mostly at the pro level because of Psionic Storm. Psionic Storm just completely ignores everything, so it doesn't really matter. But since this is a Protoss player who didn't even research warp gates 18.5 minutes into the game, I don't believe he's ever got that plan. Now, he did lose the Forge. So what do? We remake it, even though we have 6 workers worth of mining. Roomba, can we scout around the map a little bit, dude? You gotta realize at this point that something fishy is going on. I mean, you have more eco than the opponent, but you have 22 drones. And that's also nothing really to write home about. Hydra Dash? No, we don't have Hydra Dash. Would have been pretty good, honestly. Oh god, this is awkward. Hydras are obviously going to move a little bit quicker on creep. Do we have fungal energy? No, we don't have fungal either. Fungal here to maybe stop the units from running is not a bad idea, but I think the Hydra's got it. Yeah, that's another carrier going down. One more carrier down the drain, and that means that now we are playing the StarCraft equivalent of a MOBA. Batnas is playing League of Legends, and he chose his hero. His champion. His whatever it's called. I don't know. His champion died, though. It's not gonna respawn at the Nexus. Oh, come on, Batnas. Are you kidding me, Batnas? Really? Really? Honestly, the only thing that is still missing in this particular match is a little bit of bad mouthing. We need to, you know, BM the opponent just a little bit. Clearly, we have not lost because of our own mistakes. There's no way that that is the case. Clear. Oh, no, I don't think it's going to happen. Finally, by the way, Batnas now, or sorry, Roomba here, does see the opponent's... All right. He does... Dude, this guy has been Sky Toast and Kenner Rush too many times. You can tell. There's a little bit of Zerg PTSD going on here. What are we doing, Batnas? Seriously, we're making pylons? You think you're gonna win the game? Anyways, he's finally found the last bastion of the Protoss. And I think even though this is gonna be painful, even though it's going to be bloody, yep, Batnas has not rebuilt their base. No GG, of course. It's Roomba who wins the first game of the day. Next up, we find ourselves in a... Wait, what map are we on? cut it out. Incorporeal, I knew that. Next up, it's time for a Platinum League match of Terran versus Terran. Spawning right here in the top left-hand corner, we have none other than the Dark Lord. Hello, Milo. Do you have to sit on my keyboard, buddy? Okay. His opponent down in the bottom right. If suddenly my camera goes off screen, you can blame the cat. Playing right here with the red SCVs in the opposite corner. We're looking inside of the main base of Tenebris. Tenebris versus the Dark Lord. I'm pretty sure you could write at least some weird story about this. It sounds like a comic book, doesn't it? The Dark Lord. Sorry, that's an effect I never really use much on my audio setup. I pretty much only use this. It's pretty much only this, but
I've got this one as well. I don't know.
That one's I'm pretty sure you have to be a VTuber for that sort of sound effect to be relevant. Not that I would ever say that any VTubers on Twitch or on YouTube or whatever would ever use like a vocal change. You know, nobody would just like change their voice, right? Anyway, so far, what are we doing? We've got ourselves double barracks on both sides of the map. This is clearly a much lower game as far as the skill level goes, because everything is already a bit of a mess. Now, if you have an amazing / terrible game of StarCraft 2 that maybe you would like me to go ahead and have a look at, and maybe you would like me to make fun of you, you can send it over to replays@loco.tv. Just attach the .sc2, what is it called? The .sc2 replay file to the email, and maybe... Where are we going? Maybe I'll cast your game in the future. What's this? The Dark Lord is marching, man. Da, 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 da. What are we doing? Where are we going? We're sending 2 Marines, 3 Marines. We're just rallying Marines across and then pulling a... I guess the plan is to maybe build a bunker, but the problem is that we don't have... There's no expansion. So, like, what are we gonna do? What are the SCVs here for? What are... So, I think this is about maybe 1,200 or so MMR below the previous game that we had a look at. In case you're unfamiliar, Diamond League is by far the biggest league in StarCraft 2. That is usually where StarCraft players are born and where StarCraft players go to retire. You never move out of it. I think Blizzard one day should really do some rebalancing of the leagues because it's a bit of a mess. Like Platinum League is like 200 MMR big, and I think Diamond League is like 12, maybe 1,300 or so. So going from like Diamond 3 to Diamond 2, I think is a bigger jump than from like Gold 1 to Diamond 3. It's honestly kind of insane. Anyway, there's a momentous amount of skill difference between like low diamond and high diamond, and this being platinum, it means that, yeah, we certainly are quite a bit lower on the ladder than the previous game. It is just an absolute mess. What are we doing? What is happening? We have an expansion here trying to be built. There's still a bunch of marines on the other side of the map. We have a factory coming up right now, but Tenebris has got an insane amount of resources in the bank. He's now losing as well Reapers, 2 SCVs, no target firing or anything. Like, he's doing a bit of stutter step micro, but even though he killed 5 SCVs, it hasn't really done too much damage. Honestly, his marines here, the Dark Lord's marines that is, he who shall not be named, they're putting in some work. This could become problematic. It's 3 marines. We need to pull the boys against this if you're not careful. And the Dark Lord is putting in some work. Look, we have the hero hit squad again. 6 more SCVs are ready for a boxing match. The 3-man army, the 3 musketeers. Well, right now it's only 1 musketeer that remains. They're trying their best. What is happening? What am I watching right now? How did we get here? Where are we going? Why are we here? Having a bit of an existential crisis while watching a game of TVT. That supply depot, by the way, has been a main point of attraction here for the Dark Lord. He just grenaded himself. Tenebris is playing this. Tenebris is playing this with a heartbeat of about 150. Oh, I think that's the package. Hold up, 1 sec. Oh, the doorbell. It pulled me back to reality. We had a package delivery. Oh, thank God. A momentary break from whatever this is. You know what I love about this, though? As messy as this is, as insane as what we are witnessing truly is here, this is probably the craziest game that both of these players have played in their lives. Now, why this never happens at a high level is because imagine if the money was spent right now and we had 12 Hellions, right? Or 24 additional Marines. It would not be so close. It would be over. This game would be GG. Not the case, though. So the Dark Lord, pulling in a whole load of SCVs across the map, has now less workers than he started the game off with. Interestingly enough, Tenebris did get an engineering bay, and he did research the +1 attack. So far, it's really only been the Reapers that have benefited from it, which I guess is nice. Now adding on another barracks, no add-ons or whatever though. We have +1 before Stimpec. We go for an armory as well. Okay, what are we gonna do that? Now... Now you see how powerful I am. What are you talking about? Is this real? Like, am I dreaming? What in the world's happening? You just YOLO'd in 2 more Marines and they died immediately. He's role-playing, man. That's incredible.
Now you see. Oh,
Wrong button.
Now you see how powerful I am.
How did that do? I don't know. In my headphones, it kind of sounds like my own voice, but usually, you know, it sounds cooler in the recording. Tenebris should be in a pretty comfortable spot, I think. What are we doing with siege tanks? Stop that with the snow. No. He is just sending everything he's got to the other side of the map. Like, there is no combination of units, no timing attacks, no upgrades or whatever. He is making a 3rd expansion. That one just finished up. My favorite part is that this is just a monologue. Tenebris is not even responding.
I crush you.
Or...
Crunch. Or crunch.
I don't know. He does something. Maybe he's got a crush on him? The scan reveals that he cannot fight this with siege tanks. So what do? Ah, we bring another tank. Now, Hyperflight Rotors is coming up for the one Banshee that Tenebris has been able to produce. We have a sensor tower as well, which is kind of insane. Why did we build the armory? I do not know. Stimpec? Oh, sorry. What did I... Oh, God. I pressed the wrong button. This cast has been an absolute mess so far. Stimpec has still not been built. It's just about to finish up, though, but we decide to strike while the iron is hot. And while, yeah, the Dark Lord has tried his absolute best, he's in a horrible position. Starport is coming up. We have additional barracks building too. I think it is time to get back to the drawing board. I mean, I say that, right? So the Dark Lord is in a bad spot, I think. But then if you look at his opponent's position, it might be even worse. Because Tenebris so far has just been hit in the face. I mean, he has the Banshee now on the other side, and that one is going to be able to put in a good bit of work. Yeah, there's actually no anti-air. Wait a second. How are we in a TVT where there's no anti-air? There is no unit! How is there a Terran versus Terran with no anti-air at the 9-minute mark? What just happened? Literally every Terran unit, I feel like, can kill... Okay, not all of them, but, you know. TVT always has anti-air. Well, I guess that leaves you no other solution. And that is to even send the units that do not have an attack animation, the mules, to the other side of the map. Secondary Banshee now shows up as well. He has a perfect opportunity to absolutely destroy the opponent's economy. Instead, we are killing a refinery. Yeah, one that isn't even mining. Why are we not doing anything? Tenebris! Tenebris, wake up! Oh. Oh. Why is this so painful? No, you drove the Cyclone the wrong way! Ah! Ah! Lucky for us, though. He decided to stick around. Now, there is speed on the Banshee. So it's going to be able to fly back to safety. Okay. Okay. 10.5 minutes in. Both players are just about 50 supply each. The Dark Lord has used the all army hotkey. He hasn't said anything in a while, by the way. I kind of miss it. But look, now we've got a bit of an attack. I always loved this Terran Marine skin. I think it looks badass. Combat Shields is here. +1 attack was finished up about 17 minutes ago in this 11-minute game. And we are going to be able to put in a bit of work. Now, yet again, Dark Lord is still hunting the one Banshee. I think this is going to be massively problematic right now. Yeah, I don't think the Dark Lord is going to have a good time fighting this sort of thing. The Jimmies have already done their jobs. Orbital Command number 3 is going to go down. Assuming we target it. Yep, there we go. And while the army in blue is trying to find a reasonable opportunity and the Banshee is going back around for more. Actually, I think that may be a rebuild Banshee. Yeah, 2 Banshees have died. We've gone for a very delayed 3rd Banshee. Overstimming could, I guess, be a problem. But Tenebris is already putting in so much work. Instead, the Dark Lord has decided to go for a bit of a counterattack. But while he's trying his best, he just doesn't have the numbers. Siege tank? Okay, trying to blast some of them apart. Fair enough. Yeah, I think this is over. I believe that this is completely over. What does that even mean? Hold up. I need to... What does that mean? To be significantly outclassed or outshined by someone else. Oh my god. We get Gen Alpha slang in StarCraft 2? Is that where we have arrived? I thought this was a game for boomers. I thought you could only play this game if you were at least graying a little bit. Maybe balding just a tad. I've never seen anybody call their opponent get mocked. GG gets cold. Well played is added into the mix. That means that Tenebris wins the 2nd game of the day. Spawning right here, in the bottom left-hand corner, playing with the blue Protoss pieces, we have none other than Dave Testa. His opponent, all the way in the upper right, playing with the red Zerg pieces. We're looking inside of the main base of Snooper. Now, one of the two players here, I think it was the Zerg, is in Master League. And I think Dave Testa here is in Diamond League, or maybe it's the other way around. Dave, of course, he cast a ton of StarCraft as well. This is one of the games that he submitted, so we'll see what it's going to be like. In case you're unfamiliar, I'll link Dave's channel down below as well. He does a lot of cool StarCraft content. And he opens up with a Forge first. Never mind, I'm removing that link. Okay, no, I'll leave it there. Fine, I'll keep it there. Just a straight cannon rush, really? Really? That's okay. Well, he doesn't know the perfect distance to stay away from that building hatchery. Now pokes into the main base just to confirm that there's nothing weird going on. Yep, sees the timing of the spawning pool. Secondary probe is going to be responsible for the actual photon cannon building. And this is all a little bit sharper. Yep. This is all a little bit sharper as far as cheese goes. Because this hatchery is going to finish up before the photon cannon, meaning that it can't get cancelled. The Zerg has no clue that this is even happening, because he's seen the timing of the probe scout and believes that this is just a regular probe scout timing. Now he finishes it. I mean, we could have probably, done it maybe slightly quicker. But either way, this is all fine. That hatchery is toast. Now, how do you respond here as Snooper? I think what you need to do is take the Roach Warren and the second gas immediately. Couple options, right? As a Zerg, if you're ever in this situation where you're completely caught off guard, and this will always happen, you can either go for, like, I don't know, a drone pool. If you catch it early enough, maybe you can make Zerglings, right? That's an option, but sometimes you're just caught too late. I think Roach Ravager is a good choice. If you're, like, really contained on one base and your opponent is playing, like, hyper proxy and they just proxy literally everything on the other side of the map, you could even go Swarm Hosts. But what I like right here for Snooper is that he's actually got an Overlord Scout of the opponent's natural. He should stop moving it. Because if there is no Nexus going down, you could actually go Swarm Hosts. There's a good oh, well, that's... Alright, that's also something we can do. We can also fight fire with fire. Never mind. I'm assuming Dave paid attention to the minimap. I'm assuming he noticed that the drone went through the wall. Because if not, this could become very awkward. Yeah, so this is a full commitment. Proxy hatchery is now coming up inside of the main base of the Protoss. Okay. Roach production has begun. We, for some reason, have 5 drones in gas, which may honestly be... No, it's not intentional. Though for a second, it was a very refined taste. I think actually with the proxy hatch, it might be a bit tricky. This is enough drones, though, to continue just making Ravagers on this base and to still keep a little bit of money as well in his back pocket to make some roaches over here. Okay. Problem for Protoss is you can't move up to the high ground here. Roaches are waiting. Yeah. And while you obviously are safe with shield batteries and all the rest of it nearby, having like 3 roaches in your main base, like 3 roaches, you can just one-shot whatever you like here. It is going to be extremely difficult for Protoss to get much done, because obviously you can recall units, but then if you recall units back home, then these roaches are going to move in. This is a disgusting build, by the way, Dave. What? I know Dave's going to be watching this. Dave, what in the world is this? It's gross. You should feel somewhat ashamed. Proxy Immortal. Are we going to go Immortal into Prism into Immortal? I think that's what we're doing. Now, creep should be noticed. Yeah, we might have to publicly shame Dave. Remember that moment in Game of Thrones? I think it's like season 5 or whatever, where Cersei Lannister has to do the thing. Maybe. I'm just saying, we need to come up with something. Spinecrawler building on top of the high ground here as well for Snooper. Immortal, though, is going to be great. Okay, we go double Immortal before Prism. I think we should probably have saved up a little bit more, but I can't blame Snooper too much. Yeah, at this point, obviously, the creep is well within vision. The Queen is going to be extremely annoying, though, and this is going to create a lot of urgency. Dave does not recall? Oh my god, Dave actually used Chrono Boost. This is the first time I see a cannon rush like this where Chrono Boost is utilized. Alright, so without energy on the Nexus, it actually gets a little bit awkward. The Immortal and the Stalkers have to awkwardly run back home. Probes are now forced to evacuate the old main base, and drone production begins for Snooper, which I find highly ambitious. Infestation Pit also coming up for Snooper. So I think he wants to go Swarm Host. Okay, recall now available though. Probes are back in the main base. Another Immortal gets recalled. I think that's the end of this proxy. Yeah. Yeah. This is the end of the proxy. I think we cancel whatever. Maybe maximize damage output. Okay, attacking the Nexus itself is a very ambitious play. In the meantime though, Snooper has 24 drones. 13 probes is all that remains. So this is going very nicely according to plan right here for Snooper, who is going to lose his proxy hatch, whatever. He's buying an insane amount of time. Makes a couple of Overlords here. I find that a little overly ambitious, but whatever. Maybe you're going to keep the Protoss player occupied for just a moment. Because the real problem arrives when the Prism is out, and we can actually move up towards the high ground. Now, so far, Dave hasn't made a Prism, but it would be the logical next move, because at that point, you can juggle the Stalkers, the Immortals, and everything else, and you can force your way up to the high ground. Swarmos, though, are popping out. You need to target down individual structures with this. Yep, and that's what he's doing. Okay, and now anytime there's a Locust Wave available, I mean, there's just barely not enough here, but anytime something is available for those Swarm Hosts, I think we should see a kill on something. Now, it is slow going. That's the problem. He also lost the hatchery and I think those 2 Overlords here too. Maybe he canceled them? I'm not sure. But a big supply block right here for the Zerg, which is making everything messy. He's going Nydus Network? Honestly, I don't think we can afford it. We're going Observer? Dave, where's the Prism? Dave! Dave, where's... We don't need an Observer. We need a Prism. Ay. I need to prescribe homework right here. Your homework is to check out DreamHack Valencia. The one, I think it was like 2018, 2019 or so, where Haas played against Serral in the finals. Like, check out all the Haas games. That tournament was dirty. It was a lot like this, except a little crisper. Okay, we're evacuating. That's what we're doing. We're leaving. If you kill the network before the worm finishes, everything in the network dies. Dave, stutter step. Dave, stutter step. Okay, that's it. The entire... Oh, look at the supply count of the Zerg. Sorry, can we... Oh, no. Just pay attention here to the supply count of the Zerg. That is 57 supply gone in an instant. Yeah, in case you're unfamiliar, that's how it works in StarCraft 2. So when, like, you kill both the mouth as well as the ass of the Nydus worm in every location on the map, everything inside of the network instantly suffocates.